Right, we should be going live. Right, I think we're sorted. Let me just make sure that it's actually working. There we go. Hello. How's things? How is everybody? How's your week been? How's life? How's the universe? How's everything? How are things? Sweet. That one. That one? That one. That one. There we go. Hello. Hello, Mike. Hello, Phil. Hello, Ish. Hello, Zesnan. And I'm sorry I can't see who's at the top. There's a thing covering it. My apologies. Hello, Sophie. Hello, Marcus. Hello, Tom. How you guys doing? How's things? Hello, Simon. How you doing, man? How's things? How's your week been? My CPU's getting to 80 to 88 degrees Celsius and even 92 to 96 degrees when it's getting close to 100. Is that okay? So with an i7 7700, those do get quite hot. However, if you haven't reinstalled the thermal paste anytime recently, it might be worth putting some fresh thermal paste on. That might help you a bit, because that is getting a little hot generally. Hello Butcher Bench, and hello Harry. How you guys doing? How's things? How has everybody's week been? I have been busy. I was at a track day at Donington. Here is my wristband. On Monday. It was very fun. My car broke. What do you recommend for a TV? It depends on your budget. Obviously, if you've got unlimited money, then whatever the latest LG OLED is probably the best bet. But what you call it? Come on, brain. Thank you, Stream Elements, for being so slow. Where am I at? If you don't have as much money to spend, then the TV that I bought, the Hisense, whatever it's called, the 4K 55-inch, I think it was, is something like £300 or so, which is really not much for a 4K 55-inch TV, even if it is a VA panel, I think. But yeah, that would be that'd be that. It's great weather here. I hate it. Nobody wants to buy my PCs. Yeah, that's fair. It's great weather here too, which is why the windows are open and the fan's still on. So I'm sorry for the extra noise, but wouldn't survive without it, and I probably still won't survive with it. So, Michael, you didn't touch your CPU for 4 years. Then in that case, making sure that your CPU cooler is free from dust, and buy some thermal paste, some Arctic MX5 probably, would be a good shout. And repaste it, and that's probably going to be a good shout for you. That should help bring your temperatures down. Harry, you're up at Barrow and Furness. Fair, and you drive home tomorrow. Well, safe journeys. Hope you're. Have you been away for the whole week, or has it just been a day or two? Hello, Essentialist. How you doing, man? In terms of what I've been up to this week, one, quite a lot, and two, I built this. This is the TechteamGB, as it's well put. I painted the shell myself, and I also installed a custom USB-C port right there. So yeah, it's Razer PVT keycaps and glorious Panda switches on a GMMK Pro full size. Yeah. It's proper clacky. Very clacky. And I even went as far as to get the fancy coiled cable, out you come, with the ridiculously expensive and totally useless, because it's a disconnectable cable, aviator connector. Now, which way around does it go? That way? There we go. So yeah, I've been doing that for 2 weeks straight. The whole week, fair play. I hope you're back home soon, or time goes quickly. There you go. Is it possible to put an MSI RTX 3080 Ti with a 3700X on a 750 watt power supply? In theory, yes. In practice, no. The trouble with the RTX cards is that they have pretty large power spikes, and I've had it where even a 3070 or potentially even 3060 Ti can trip the overcurrent protection on a 750 watt power supply. It's mostly fine. You know, the updates have kind of brought them along, but a 3080 Ti is what, 300-ish watts at least on its own. Add that to your system, which is another, call it 200 all in. In theory, that's in spec. In practice, the spikes might make that difficult. But yes, in theory, it's fine. In practice, I'm not sure. I think you would struggle. My computer thinks I'm in another time zone. Mine did as well today, actually. My graphics driver crashed. I had to restart my PC, and then all of my quick access stuff in Windows Explorer disappeared, and my time zone was, or my time was reset. So I had to enable and disable it. Yeah, it was weird. Don't know what happened. How long did the TechteamGB take you to come up with? I don't remember, was it me or you, Essentialist, that came up with that? But not long at all. Is it good that the CPU or GPU is getting to 85 degrees to 9060? As I've said before, up to the 85 degree mark is fine. Once you start going above that, it starts to get a bit more difficult. Oh, that's interesting. Sophie, your time zone has not only changed itself, but unfixed itself. Nice. Sadly not. This is the keyboard is very custom, and very much way too much effort for me to do anything other than just use it now. Yeah. 350 watt. I think it's around 300. But what would it be? 2 8-pins, so 150 plus another 75 from the slot, which would total 375. If it's 2 8-pins. But a 3080 Ti, I can't remember what its TDP is. 320 watt. Yeah. The 3090. Oh, that's the 3080. The 3090 is 350 watt. So I'm assuming the 3080 Ti is the same. Yeah, 350. So 75 from the slot, 150 from an 8-pin, and then the difference from the next 8-pin. Overclocking cards may also include a third 8-pin. It's there if you want it. Hello, Yanizik. How you doing, man? Hello, Random Dude. Hello, Abhilash. I'm sorry I said your name wrong, inevitably. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, hello, Mac, as well. How you doing, man? 1 million subscriber TechteamGB giveaway. Do you know what? For 1 million, I'd do that. Is a 4-year-old PC considered old? It depends who you ask. If you ask Intel, AMD, or Nvidia, yes. They want you on the latest and greatest. In reality, that's probably on the older side of things. If you think about, so obviously you're on 7th gen Intel, we're now on 11th, and there's potentially going to be a 12th gen at the end of the year. So that's quite a gap in terms of the generational gap, and obviously with Intel the generational gap there isn't massive, but it's still, you know, back then the best you could get was 4 cores and 8 threads. Now you can get, what, 10 cores? 20 threads? If you get the 10900 or the 10850K. So, yeah. But in the grand scheme of things, it's still fine. It doesn't really matter how perceived old things are. It matters more about the performance you get from those components, and if it's still functioning fine, then it doesn't really matter how old it is, right? It was Chris that came up with it, then credit to Chris. But it wasn't long. I tried to buy an RTX 3070 Ti at 11 PM last night, only got a card into cart and checkout, and it was sold out. You can't even see the payment screen at 11:03 PM. Ouch. Yeah, I definitely believe that that account. The number of posts that I've seen where people have had it, you know, had products in cart ready to buy, only to you know, stock be swept out from under them. Yeah. i5 11400F B560, good upgrade. Depends what you have now. Have you tried modding your PC cases? How hard is it to shrink it in size? I have modded PC cases, mostly badly. Technically speaking, my PC case is exclusively a mod, because it's the box that I built myself and then put under my desk. And I have more recently cut up a PC case to then use as the motherboard tray and backplate, which worked out pretty well. So that's a good shout. But I have also modded some other cases. I did the Coolmaster Master Case 5 mod project. God, 6-7 years ago now. Jesus. Which ended fine. But yeah, and I did the CSGO, the Rainbow Six Siege bomb PC build as well. Now all you need to do is waste another 2 days lubing all the switches. Yeah, you see, I don't. No. No. The owner of a GTX 550 Ti arrived. Nice. You're upgrading from an FX 6100. In that case, yes, that's definitely a good upgrade. Please review the SN750, SN850, and Samsung 980. I will. I've asked for the SN850 many times, and they've told me that they will send me one when they have stock, but I've still not had one. The Samsung 980, I did the 980 Pro. Do you mean the 980 Pro, or do you mean that slightly worse version of it, which is the Samsung 980? In which case, technically yes. In practice, I'm not sure that they have any stock of them, so we'll see. And the SN750, I did the SN700, which is again a very similar drive in terms of its performance. Yeah. 4 years ago was only 2017. It still feels like the 90s were the last decade. Geez, I'm old. Nice. Yeah, it does. It's weird. As I've said, I think I said last week, in February next year, I will have been making YouTube videos for 10 years. Which is just dumb. But yeah, it's weird. Also, 2017 seems like it was yesterday, but also a decade ago. Can you recommend a replacement for an old Xbox 360 wired controller? Depends how much you're willing to spend. If you're willing to splash out, the Xbox Elite controllers are fantastic and really nice. Otherwise, you can still buy an Xbox controller. A SCUF controller, technically, they're owned by Corsair now. Who else? Yeah, that's fine. What are your thoughts on the new TI cards? I honestly checked out. I don't have any. I wasn't sent any. I don't expect to get any anytime soon. And so I've kind of been checked out on it. The 3080 Ti, it's literally a 3090, but with a couple of, like, 2 cores missing. And then the 3070 Ti, the gap between the 3070 and the 3080 already isn't massive, so a 3070 Ti seems like a bit of a weird... Like, I know that it's kind of just to compete with AMD, but still seems a bit weird. And also, I was surprised to find out that the RX 6900 XT, the 3090-ish competitor, I suppose probably 3080 Ti competitor now, draws less power than a 3070 Ti, which is insane. And I think maybe even a 3070, although I might have misread that. But yeah, insane. But yeah, I've been checked out. Obviously, I think a lot of people have, considering the stock issues for sure. But yeah, RTX 3070 Ti is perhaps the worst launch ever in Canada. I didn't even see any overpriced pre-orders, virtually no cards. I did see some overpriced 3080 Ti pre-orders on its launch day. Interesting. I know that stock has been really limited for a lot of places, but to hear that there is potentially none in Canada at all is kind of surprising. I assume there is a couple, but still, strange. AMD is the king of efficiency. It's funny, but yes, currently. Than MSI Ventus, 3X 3080 Ti is better choice for 3. So that's not a sentence. So I think you're asking, is the MSI Ventus 3X 3080 Ti a better choice? I honestly don't. The gaming extra. No, so the trouble is the card itself. Dennis, the trouble is that the card itself will draw a hell of a lot of power, and so and will spike as well. So like the for sure it's going to work solution would be to buy a 3060 Ti or a 3070. If you want a 3080 Ti, then you can buy it and try it, and if it works, cool. If not, you'll need to upgrade the power supply to an 850 watt or even 1000 watt if the spikes are that hard. So yeah, the model really doesn't matter. The stupid thing is they're based on the same die as their non-TI versions. Do you think they should have focused on getting the other cards in stock? So in theory, them offering more models means that they potentially are better able to utilize defect dies. So when you make a wafer of those chips, a number of those dies, especially because they're GPU dies, so they're pretty large compared to, say, the Ryzen CPU IO dies, which are absolutely tiny by comparison. Those some of those dies will not be quite perfect. Some of the some wires will be crossed. Some of the barriers that should have been there aren't quite as well defined, and so the long story short is that some of those defect dies can be saved by binning them to be lower quality or lower end cards. So if you build a wafer for the 3090, let's say, and I don't know, 30% of the dies that you can fit on there are defect dies, potentially those 30% of dies might just have some cores missing or some cores that can be deactivated. So they can deactivate enough cores to turn it into a 3080 or a 3080 Ti, and then sell that chip on instead of putting it in the bin. So having more options for which categories they can put it in theory means they can better utilize their use case or their production. In practice, they already have enough SKUs in the lineup that they can just sort of underbin by a larger margin, right? So if they designed a 3080, a 3070 die, or they manufactured a 3070 die, and it's only missing a couple of, it's got a couple of fully non-functional cores, well, they could disable just a few more and make it a 3060 Ti, or they could just disable a few more and make it a 3060 instead. So in theory, it's fine. In practice, it probably doesn't make a difference. There's more SKUs for them to sell, but they're still only, manufacturing a fixed amount, so yeah. The 3070 Ti I'm only getting, for reference, cheapest here in Australia is $959, I think, but once sold out, the price goes up, such as the 3070 Ti Tough from Asus, that's $959 at one shop and $19.99 at another. Oof. Yeah, the long story short is that you still can't buy a GPU, which is the problem. The 11400F and RTX 3060 are good for gaming. Yes, they are. Good pair. Good value. Assuming you can buy the 3060 Ti. Horizon Zero Gamer, I think that's called generational efficiency. Did I miss something? I think so. Hello, Luca. I'm not. I didn't say hello. How you doing, man? How's things? How's your car? Is it holding up all right? Thanks for your help on Twitter the other day. You managed to get a new disc, but scalper pricing is in effect. Fair play. I don't know if you saw Seagate's reply to my reply to your tweet. It was quite funny. Clearly their Salesforce dashboard that helps them manage those like tweets and requests didn't show context, because they replied to my tweet, my reply to you, saying, something like, if you here is our guide for how to pick what type of drive you need. Which was entirely not relevant to anything I'd said, but it's kind of funny. Good. Car held up well, surprisingly. Nice. Have a lot of pads left, and now going through all the video. Fair play. I need to go through all the video and edit something together for next week. So, yeah, there's a lot of clips for me to to go through. Hello, Joe. How you doing, man? How's things? Daniel C. No, I've done some videos on mining in the last boom actually, but I know how it works. Fine. How's my car doing? It's okay. I actually had an MOT today, and passed with flying colours. I did get some new rear tires fitted because I burned through them like mad. But I needed them anyway, so I knew about it. It's fine. I've got the new clamps to fit to properly fix my exhaust rather than the Jubilee clips that I'm using, which, to be fair, will probably hold up fine. But I bought the proper thing, so I'm going to replace it. I also bought some non-slotted brake rotors for the front because I'm tired of it vibrating under braking, especially when they get remotely warm. And I'm also swapping back from the EBC yellow stuffs to my stock pads because my stock pads have a better bite when cold, and if I'm gonna daily the car, it's gonna be fine. And also they seem to hold up just as well under temperature. So yeah, I'm also gonna flush my brake lines fully, or my brake fluid fully, because it both me and Dan's car, the pedal was basically going to the floor every time you got in it after a run. So yeah. uh, da, 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 da. Recommended build for 1,000 to 1,200 pounds. So the trouble is right now, because of the availability specifically of the GPUs, it's honestly better to buy a pre-built right now because pre-builts often have stock of those cards, and while you're not necessarily getting quite as good value for money as you would in a non-mad time, it's in current pricing, you will be ripped off way more trying to buy any GPU right now than you would if you try to build it yourself or whatever, right? Oh. What car? It's an Audi S4. I run a car channel called At the Wheel. It's probably linked in the description. Actually, it might not be. But it's called At the Wheel. And that I've done many videos on it. And I will have a video next week on going to Donington with it. With Luca. Do you enjoy Fortnite? Not really. Don't really play it. I play it for what you call it, benchmarks, but that's about it. I'm afraid. Not my thing. Need to check my tires. You could have left the clamp off. Free straight through exhaust. Yeah, the thing is that there's nothing that holds the exhaust on if you take that clamp off. It was literally dragging on the track as I went around the last corner. The clamp slipped off. The downpipe dropped to the floor and was dragging along the floor as I pulled into the pits and into my garage. So no is the answer. Although I did hear it and it was incredibly loud. Although to be fair, I didn't have a rear resonator when I bought a rear muffler when I bought the car. The previous owner had chopped off the rear silencers and put 2 straight pipes in the back, and it was painful. Like, it sounded good when you started it up and you let it idle or whatever, and you're in a car park, the typical Macca's thing. But the second that you started driving it, it just droned and droned and droned, and it was painful. So I bought a second-hand exhaust and fitted it and replaced it. I'm kind of enjoying Fortnite since there are bows. Fair play, nice. I have played them I have played with the bows while benchmarking, which they're actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. So, yeah. It's a bit like trying to buy an Xbox Series X. You can't. Exactly. You need to remap and have a good backbox delete, otherwise drone. Yeah, the backbox delete was just a straight pipe, which made it suck. So, yeah, nah. Are you a football fan? I'm afraid I am not. So I can't tell you. I watched the F1 though. How big is the difference between X264 and NVENC for streaming? How would an 11600K and 11400 run streaming? I have done videos on, I think, both of those, or very least, yes, I did a video on the 11600K streaming. Although I don't think I've done an 11400F streaming just yet, but it's similar but slightly slower, basically. And the answer is they work okay, but NVENC is still going to be a better experience for you. although the final video quality might not be quite as good as X264. Opinions on the internet outage. I don't know what you mean. Locally.link was still live. Yeah. There's one of the really scary things about building your business online is that you are so dependent on all of the other services. Like for locally, we run it on DigitalOcean. So if DigitalOcean goes down, so do we, and that is potentially, affecting our customers. And while we only have a few folk that we are servicing, it's still a really scary point of failure. And the worst bit is that there's pretty much nothing you can do about it. Like, sure, we could technically self-host it, but then, we use we use analytics, and while technically we have built a lot of it, we use React, so if there's issues with that, potentially, or 0 days or bugs or whatever, that could be a problem. And so the fact that both Reddit, Twitch, CNET, who else went down? There was some issues with Twitch, Amazon, all of those places all had a complete critical point of failure on Fastly, and that took down the site. Like, there wasn't a backup, there wasn't a failsafe or failover, there wasn't anything. They just were off for everybody, or at least for the affected area. That that would worry me if that was my business. If that was my publicly traded business, I'd be even more scared. Honestly, I believe that it was a single user. That's the sort of dumb thing that happens. And yeah, that happens. Did they try turning it off and on again? I would assume so, but it did take them a couple hours. Makes you realise how much of your lives revolve around being online. You take it away and suddenly hits you how much we rely on it. Exactly. And it's both terrifying and a sign of the times. But yeah, it's weird. Also, hello Joe, and you're waiting for a knee replacement. Ouch. I can only apologize for your troubles, I suppose. I can understand why that might make your workshop build slow things down. But yeah, it's best of luck. Hope it's quick. Shockingly, the share price went up. Yeah, stock prices are fiction. Like when someone like AMD launches a new product, their stock price goes down, even if then the product is exponentially better than the competition or the last version, the stock price will still go down. They launched their financial results where they're up 200% from the year before or whatever, and guess what? Stock price goes down. I think it's the whole the day-to-day is gambling, the overall trend line is based in fact. As to the internet outage, they do sometimes have backup contracts with AWS, but it was riskier switching than waiting for the repair. True, my concern was that the entire site went down without any automatic failover. That is something that we currently don't have with locally, but we have, I would say we, me and Dan, have been talking about or thinking about, because we don't want the site to go down, we don't want the service to go down, and so it's to see Reddit and Twitch not have, you know, automatic failover from literally every other third-party service and even their own services. It boggles the mind. I can do things with one leg, but being a larger man means I can't exactly hop about. That's fair. Hopefully it comes sooner rather than later. Do you have a current estimated waitlist time type thing? I guess whatever sites went down, I wasn't using it at the time or not often enough to notice they were down. Fair. It was Reddit, Twitch, a load of news sites, including some UK government sites. Nice. So yeah, it was quite a lot, and it was fully down. Like, I tried to go to Reddit. Nah. The whole of gov.uk went down. I didn't realize it was that much. Nice. Oh dear. GG. But to be fair, if the entirety of Reddit and Twitch went down, .gov.uk or like gov.uk, I forgive them. Nice one-ish. Someone to get the CCNA. Oh, indeed. Hi, can you help me with installing Windows on a new NVMe from an old NVMe? The best advice I would give you there is generally to install Windows from scratch. You boot from the old NVMe and create installation media, and then reinstall Windows from there. Copy over your license key, and then just manually copy over the programs, or manually copy over your files and reinstall your programs. It's a pain, but it's also it will save you a lot of trouble in the long run. I know I have been there. I have used a laplink cable to copy my laptop's operating system to a desktop when I first built my PC. Almost 10 years ago in January. Because I thought that would be easier. In practice, trust me, it's not. You really want a fresh install on a new drive. Yeah. But my NVMe isn't showing up in the BIOS. Well, that's a different problem. In that case, what motherboard and CPU do you have? For the service we provide, we can't use a CDN. That's fair. Yeah, we don't use a CDN. I think we route traffic through Cloudflare, but not the CDN, just the protection. But yeah, that. Yanazig, surprisingly, it did. Also, hello Spencer. How you doing, man? How's things? How you doing? How's life? How's your health? Been investment all my life. Buy the rumor, sell the fact. Yeah, that's fair. Are you an audiophile? Have you tried Apple Lossless? So one, no, not really. I've done a few audio reviews in the past, or including relatively recently, but I am not. I have kind of too much hearing damage, and it's not something that I am. I care for too much. I also don't own any Apple products, so Apple Lossless is not something that I would have tested. So you're both a keyboard and audio file. Thank you, Byron. I managed to fit my Volvo 740 exhaust now. Nice. Yes, I don't have cheap hobbies. I mean, to be fair, neither do I. I own fast cars, motorbikes, mountain bikes, technically instruments, tech. What else? I'm sure there's more of them, but those are very expensive hobbies. I would like to do some airsofting. That's very expensive. Uh, yeah, just to name a few. I just bought a laptop. It's the Lenovo Y540. It only has a 250 gig SSD, and I want a 512 one. Gotcha. Laptops are more difficult. Their BIOSes are often a bit more restrictive. The off the top of my head, I can't think of an immediate solution. I take it when you boot from the standard drive, the second NVMe doesn't show up in the Windows drive management tool at all. Sometimes things don't show up in the BIOS, but do show up in Windows. Health-wise, I'm still here. That's good. Put a fair bit of weight on as I'm not mobile, as I once was. Hard to get into the swing of things. You, fair play. I hope you're like, how's the road to recovery doing? I'm okay. You know, life, the universe, and everything goes on. But yeah, that's it. I've got my jab tomorrow, which is sweet. I'm only 24. Yeah. So in theory, I shouldn't be allowed, but I got a text from my GP offering me one, and I clicked it and booked. I have that with my NVMe. It doesn't show in the BIOS, but I was able to install Windows, and it boots. Yeah, like I said, that can happen, where it is not visible in the BIOS, especially in things like laptops, but can come up. What you call it? Thingy. Come on, brain. Does come up. Did you manage to fix the RAM issues of the 5600X? I haven't. My production schedule is I have. Thank you very much, man. I produce videos in advance, so the video that you will see tomorrow, I produced a week and a half ago. I have not had a chance to retest anything. I think that's still the Ryzen chip. Yes. So I do still have it built. So I do plan on doing follow-up testing on that. I would like to check and modify the test slightly in a more real-world manner. I mentioned in the comments, but I would like to have a few different kits of memory, ideally from the same, same make and model, same capacity, but different the sort of different frequency and cache latency that you would normally find, and physically swap them out rather than changing settings in the BIOS. That doesn't necessarily eliminate all of your all of the issues that I ran into. Although the suggestions for tertiary timings and the memory controller using less power at 2133 and therefore having more power available to the IO dies, the chiplets rather than the IO die, and the general package constraints, that those seem very good factors for me to what you call it, test further, which I may do. I might just redo it with measuring those things, but we'll see. Work out. Is it the Pfizer one? I don't know what I'm getting. I'm getting it at a relatively local health center, which I'm not sure would have the storage capabilities for the Pfizer one. I could be wrong, but my assumption would be it would be the Oxford one instead, but I don't know. I'll find out tomorrow. My PC keeps boot cycling with CPU PEI code. I'm not. What's PEI? If I power off and on a couple of times, it shows me the BIOS recovery screen. I've reset the memory, checked the timings and voltages are all fine. So if you're getting a CPU error code, my understanding would be you'd probably want to reset your CPU and check that there aren't any bent pins in the socket, or if it's an AMD chip on the chip itself, that it's seated well, all that sort of stuff. So yeah. Will GPU prices drop? They will eventually. It's a problem with supply and demand. Currently demand is high and supply is low, so prices are high. Once supply becomes high again and demand will eventually trickle down, you will then have lower prices. The more your beard grows, the greater your V-cash. Nice. Also, hello man, how you doing? Hello Games News Yash, how you doing? I am from Scotland. I have a Dell laptop. The keyboard color turns off automatically. That's something that you can change in the whatever the Dell Control Center application is. There's probably about 70 different programs from Dell on that laptop. Find the one that your what you call it that will fit that description of some sort of control center. And you should be able to find that option in there. Julian, hello. I'm new to owning a PC. I've had mine for around 3 months, and now I'm hearing this weird buzzing sound coming from the back of the PC where the power is located. Any ideas what that is? So first of all, hello, welcome to the PC world. Odds are what that is a phenomena called coil whine. It is, I assume it's a high frequency noise, it's a high pitched tone, and so if it is, what's, how do I explain this? It is relatively normal. If it is a significant and very much annoying tone, then it can be grounds for a return and replacement, an RMA. Of either the power supply or often the graphics card. What I would do is take the side panel off of the case, run your system, and see if it is the power supply or if it's coming from the graphics card instead. Those are the two most common points. But yeah, that's that. I hear tartan and kilts. What's going on? Because you can make a kilt out of tartan. In fact, you should. You could use the McDonald clan. Scotland actually exists. Do you know? Yes. You need to wear your tartan on a future video and just shout freedom. That's your intro. Nice. I used to have an intro. I don't anymore. I used to have the Union Jack waving and me playing guitar with some overdrive. That was terrible. I'll keep that in mind. You are more successful than I am at the moment, so I should definitely listen. Bulgaria supports TechteamGB, and Ish makes a Tech Team Bulgaria joke. Nice. Well, thank you very much. I have a Bulgarian friend who would hopefully agree. I have 3 kilts. Nice. I'd wear them daily if I didn't get the looks. Yeah, fair. I actually don't own any. Because I'm still a Wayne. What's your opinion on the MXM concept from many companies like Alienware? I have an old M18R2 and I want to upgrade it to a 2080 or 1060 for mobile gaming. Fair, I liked the idea at the time. In practice, I think Nvidia killed it. They stopped supporting or offering MXM modules. The general trouble with upgrading laptop components is that they tend to be balanced relatively well, and especially these days are pretty tightly integrated. Nvidia has dynamic boost, AMD has whatever that's called, and Intel I think is doing one. But when you then start to change up the GPU without upgrading what is often a much slower chip than you get in a desktop, you could potentially run into issues there. In practice, I would love to see it, especially for those larger models where it's perfectly functionally feasible. In practice, it's a shame to see it go, but yeah. Did you find your memory issue yet? I haven't tested. I haven't retested anything yet. As I said, my production schedule is 1 to 2 weeks in advance. So while I do still have the build up, I have to produce, technically, if you include this stream, 5 videos a week. To meet my schedule, and so I need to keep, plowing on. I think I'll be retesting it next week. I would like to get separate memory kits, ideally from the same manufacturer, to be able to swap them out, same capacity, same setup, just with the different hertz or mega transfers and cache latencies. Because that's a more real world test than just changing the frequency. But yeah, I will let you know. I think the balance of tertiary timings and the IO die taking less, using less power, is quite feasible. Will there be a vid on the TechteamGB? There will be. I finished it today. It's great. I think you'll like it. And that will be on Monday. There you go. Yeah. Gaming laptop or gaming desktop? Depends on your use case, really. In my case, I don't need a laptop because I don't travel much, and I have plenty of space and availability to have a desktop. I literally built it into my desk. So, yeah, that. But if you're someone who travels more often or doesn't necessarily have the space for a full desk setup, then a laptop makes more sense, right? No, I didn't get a 3070 Ti. I didn't get a 3080 Ti either. I probably won't for quite a while yet. Unfortunately. My Asus VG27AQ is flickering while overclocked to 165 Hz. I use DisplayPort. What should I do about the flickering? The refresh rate randomly goes up and down. So there could be a number of possible options. Have a check in the menu system to see if there is what you call it? Come on, brain. Nope, it's gone. Look in the Windows settings to check that it is static at 165 Hz. Check in the NVIDIA control panel to see if G-Sync is enabled and if it's enabled for Windows, windowed, or and full screen or just full screen. What else? Checking the monitors menu settings to see if ultra low motion blur or ELMB, extreme low motion blur, is enabled, because that's backlight strobing. That'll make things look like they're flickering. Otherwise, it could be an issue with the monitor that needs to be returned, since you say it's only a week old. Again, that might be something you need to have repaired or replaced. I have a tech problem. My Samsung 840 EVO doesn't show up in post anymore, but if I apply pressure on the SSD where the power connector is and a bit of pressure on the cable, it shows up. I would definitely look to replace that drive ASAP if you haven't already, or at very least extract the data off of it, for sure. But yeah, I suspect that that's a slow drive failure, whether that's the connector, the actual physical connectors, or what, or if the solder joints on the inside are failing. But yeah, I would definitely be looking to replace that soon. And yeah, check the power cable. You can try a different one. If other SATA drives in your system are working, try swapping that over. Most of my videos are 3 hours from record to edit to upload, 0 scripts. Nice, fair. You do a good job. I'm actually doing a video on GPU, the chip shortage crisis, and I'm channeling my inner tech potato by trying to work out roughly how many dies of 3070s and 3080s you get out of a single wafer. Your PS5 video is very helpful on that. I have an Acer Aspire 3 with a 2GB MX33 330, that's what it's called. A 512GB SSD and an i5. It's not really running games well, but I check reviewers on YouTube, they're running fine. So an Acer Aspire 3 is not a very up to spec gaming laptop. An MX330 is a very old graphics card. 2GB of VRAM is really not much. I assume that's 2GB of VRAM and not system RAM. It could be system RAM, to be fair. In which case, not having 2GB of RAM is definitely not enough to play any games. And 2GB, if it is VRAM, then that's still not great in this modern day and age. So honestly, I'm not really surprised that it's not running too well. Yeah. I installed an SSD from my old computer in a disk utility. It shows up as disk 0, even though it's my E drive. Why did it not follow order and become disk 3? I had, off the top of my head, I mean, computers tend to count from 0. So it could also be what port you plugged it into. If you plugged it into the 0th port, rather than port 1, 2, and 3 or whatever, then that could also be a valid reason. No worries, Joe. I'll catch you later. Hope your knee doesn't give you too much jip in the week. But yeah, that's that. Sneaker Freak, quite possibly yes. Yeah. How's your testing at 28°C ambient today? Luckily, I haven't been benchmarking today. I've been building a custom keyboard and filming and editing that. I painted it and I installed a custom USB-C port. Put it all together, sorted it out, filmed it, all that jazz. So this is what I've been doing today. But yeah, it's absolutely boiling. I think it's 30 degrees in my house at the moment. Oh. What's your current noise gate RTX voice setting? I'm just using Streamlabs OBS, and I have my windows open, which is the problem. My noise gate is set to 46 dB close and 28 dB open with 28 milliseconds attack time, 200 milliseconds hold time, and 150 milliseconds release. Is it working well or not well? Because I can't tell, because I can't hear it. I can see the bar dancing up and down, but that's about it. What is a good project for a Raspberry Pi 3 Model B? Magic Mirror? That's what I'm using one for. I wonder where Andy got the motif. It's been on design for a while. Do you have any suggestions for a new gaming PC under €800? As I said earlier, generally speaking, buying a pre-built is kind of the best option right now because you can get stock of graphics cards at not insane prices. So that would be my immediate suggestion at the moment. Will there be an RTX 3090 Ti? I kind of doubt it. There may be an RTX Titan 2 or whatever, but I doubt that there will be a 3090 Ti unless AMD has significant competition with a 6900 XT. Unfortunately, the answer is not really. It's gonna be a while, I'm afraid. Yeah. Right. That was our usual hour. Thank you very much for tuning in. Feel free to pop back next week if you have any questions. I do these every Thursday night, 8 PM UK time. So if you want to pop back next week, feel free. Yeah. Stay safe. Have fun. And catch you guys next week. See you guys.